Hello Internet, welcome back to another edition of Eric's Corner with the word to the not so wise. Taking a little break from a project I was doing out there. I'll show you that. I'll post the video. I'm taking some ceiling trusses apart because I got them for free and I need the wood and thought it would be way easier to come apart than it actually is. I'll show you that later, but right now I'm going to talk about Uber and some of these gig jobs. This is a pretty big topic and I'm going to dip into my thoughts on Airbnbs, and trust me, nothing I have to say here is positive toward either deal. So start with Uber. So right off the bat, I did not like Uber. I liked it as a customer and as a passenger because it was cheap. You know, you could summon them from your cell phone. The app was user friendly, went straight to my credit card. It was pretty fantastic. You had driver feedback, all these things you don't have with regular cab drivers. Now, you look at Netflix, how they just kind of took over rentals and so forth. Blockbuster had a chance to buy a chance to buy Netflix, and they didn't because they didn't believe in this whole internet through the mail thing. Well, since they didn't keep up with the times, well, guess what? They got phased out. Well, cab companies were no different. They didn't update. You know, if cab companies would have dropped their prices, narrowed their margins, started using an app and made it a little more convenient, it would have worked out a little better. Like in Anchorage, every cab, I mean, I lived in Anchorage for 3 years off and on. Every time I got into a cab, their credit card machine didn't work. And it was really annoying because I never carried cash other than just a minimum amount because, I mean, you don't need it, or you shouldn't. My buddy and I were out once, and I'd never taken a cab with him anywhere apparently. And he told the guy, call your dispatcher, call the number in. You have to take a credit card. Well, he turned around and kicked us out of his cab. Well, I find out later that, you know, it eats into what they make taking credit cards. Well, since Uber came around, well, guess who in Anchorage, all their credit card machines work. That's right, Uber, or the taxi cab companies do. So that was really annoying. So again, they didn't update their system to keep up with the times and they got taken over. Now, part of the problem there is it's hard to have a cab company that maintains all these vehicles, that maintains the necessary margin and buying what's called a medallion. Now, my understanding of a medallion, it's say like $250,000 a year, and that's their permit to run a cab company. Well, so again, guess what? Government screwing it up for a company and getting them ran out of business. Wow, shocking. I have a buddy in the Philippines who ran a small cab company. I want to say he had like 10 or 15 cars, but I mean, it paid the bills with his retirement. It did the trick, and okay, cool. And he saw Uber coming, and he said, man, writing was on the wall. He sold out, and his company was out of business in like a year or two. And I mean, he didn't get very much for it, but so he's back to flying. So I looked into Uber, and I'm doing the simple math here. Again, I'm a car guy. I know what it takes to maintain vehicles. It's very expensive and very time consuming. And unless your vehicle gets 50, 60 miles to the gallon, you just simply aren't going to make any money. And most vehicles, they were pretty late model and new and fancy. And they, without doing the math, I could tell there's no way you're making money here. Well, some other YouTubers took initiative and did the math on what it costs your average vehicle per mile and so on and so forth. Like, yeah, the drivers are basically, you're just getting money out of the depreciation of your vehicle. One guy picked me and my buddy up who worked in corporate for Uber in Washington. So it was kind of cool. He's kind of undercover bossing people because he got free Ubers up to like $400 a month worth of Ubers. So he didn't own a vehicle. He just took Ubers everywhere. And you know, if they had negative things to say, he wouldn't be like, oh, I work in corporate. He just kind of, you know, keep it to himself because that wasn't really his intention. And he didn't want to make people think they're getting fired. And we're like, wow, this company's screwing me. But most of our people had good things to say. He's like, okay, I actually work for Uber, and told them like, okay, you know, I like getting feedback and so forth. And, you know, I'll take this into consideration, blah, 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 blah. And one dude pulled up in a Mercedes Benz and he was like, yeah, I thought this would like pay for my vehicle. I'm like, wow, I can drive a brand new, very high dollar vehicle and have it pay for itself or, you know, then some, and then I can do my normal thing. And he's like, it's just really not doing it. And a Mercedes Benz has the highest maintenance cost of any vehicle out there, which doesn't make sense because they make jet engines, tank engines, transmissions, which are insanely reliable. Even their diesel engines are very reliable, but their cars seem to be garbage. That makes no sense to me. again, people are going to have other opinions on it. Like my buddy had a Unimog and he's like, get rid of it. Getting parts for him is just not in reality. So he was a little bummed about that. And I said, well, sir, what's your profession? Can I ask? He's like, oh, I'm a photographer. Like, so I don't suppose that you can do things like your own brakes, can you? He's like, oh, no. I was like, oh, yeah. Wait till you got to pay somebody to put brakes on this thing and you're using it as taxi. Lots of stop and go. There's going to be high maintenance. So I had a buddy. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to do it for the peak, which that whole peak surcharge thing really pissed me off because when I first got caught in it, I thought it was an extra like $3. I thought is what it was saying, because of course I was out drinking. It's like, no, it was 3 times the fare, so I had a $60 charge, and I think they ended up waiving it, because I was like, no, I'm not paying that. And I've heard horror stories of people having $400 or $500 Uber rides because they're 10 times the charge, and like, oh, okay, I knew it was gonna be a $40 ride home, no big deal, and well, it was a 10 times surge charge. So I had a buddy I served with in the Navy, and he's like, well, I'm gonna do it on the side. I got a car that gets good gas mileage. I'm only gonna go out for peak when there's a high surge charge. And like, okay, yeah, you could make some good money there. I think that's absolutely ridiculous, because if that's the case, I'll just order a cab, because then it's cheaper. Well, I went out on New Year's. It was $10 to go to the bar. It was $10 to go home within 10, 15 cents, because there's no surge, because there are plenty of Ubers, because everybody's out chasing the surge charge. Well, supply and demand, that's what's going to happen. I got distracted. I was saying there was another YouTube channel that did the math for what you make working for Uber. And they really did a good job of breaking it down. They took a lot of things into consideration, and they took places with higher charge versus lower and took a nice average. And they did a really good job. I'll see if I can find the video and put it in the comments, or just Google it yourself. So again, I always thought it was kind of bogus. When somebody pick you up in a Prius or something, okay, you're probably making pretty good money. When it's, 7, 8 years old, you probably do okay then. But again, you're getting 45, 50 miles a gallon. I had people pull up in brand spanking new, fully loaded F-150s and stuff, and it's just like, man, you are getting taken to the cleaners here, my friend. Plus, lots of people crawling in and out of your vehicle. It's lots of wear and tear. It wears out the interior and so forth. Tires, brakes, blah, blah, blah. Your own oil change you're paying for. So the cab company that had all these taxis, they pay for all these things. They have to have a profit margin. They have to pay for maintenance. So Uber's laughing all the way to the bank. I mean, I know they're covering insurance and so forth when you drive for them. I mean, that's great. But I mean, and now I'm seeing them, they got Uber, Lyft, Ride. There are people that are driving for all 3 companies. And again, back to supply and demand, Uber did good. So it spawned all these other companies and people driving for all 3 of them. And it's just laughable and ridiculous. Like I said, I liked him as a passenger. And, I did feel a little guilty, kind of taking advantage of people's stupidity, but hey, they think they're making money. Great. You do you. So, and we ran into the same problem with Airbnbs. Now, again, if you have a basement that you finish and have extra room in your house to rent out, fantastic. Well, people have started building apartments for Airbnb. It's like, well, that defeats the purpose. Again, not a super environmentalist here, but if we can stop, building so many buildings and being such a burden and pollute so much on our planet, great. So if people Airbnb versus having hotel rooms, which I stay in Airbnbs, it's great. I got a family of 6. I mean, we staying in a hotel room is just not really reality. I mean, I can get a whole house for $200 a night versus, an apartment for 150. That's kind of the obvious choice. And that's around Christmas. The only time I've used them is up in Fairbanks when I go to see my sister, because her house isn't big enough for 12 people, 14 people, or however many of us there ends up being. And then people started kicking people out of their apartments saying, well, I can Airbnb this for the peak and during summer months or whatever, and make more than renting it year round. And there's less people here. There's not people moving furniture in and out, damaging things. And it's driven property values up. Well, back to supply and demand. We got all these people that trying to do Airbnb. Well, it's driving the prices down. And people are starting to go, oh, okay, well, my place is only $50 a month. But when you leave, make sure it's clean. The dishes are done. Nothing left in the fridge. Not even a sealed soda. Make sure to clean the bathroom and the toilets. Make the beds. Put the linens away. remodel the bathroom, do my taxes, shovel the driveway, change oil in my car. Like they got so freaking ridiculous. Like, no, I will, you know, I understand I'm not going to leave it as a disaster, but now it needs to be spotless. Okay, there's a $200 cleaning fee. Okay, well, they're going to keep that every time. Well, there was a crumb here. They're always going to have an excuse to keep that money, no matter how spotless you try to leave it. So you're stressing trying to leave with 4 children, like I am, for instance. No, just my $50 a night is including cleaning. You do the dishes. That's what you're renting it out for. Again, I rent it for 5 days. If you make $1,000, if it's $200 a night, your bitch ass can go spend a little while cleaning, or spend $50 a month per rotation hiring somebody to do it for you or something. That's just absolutely absurd. And it's just like what the airlines do. It's like, okay, well, now we're going to keep charging you fee after fee after fee. It's only $50 for the flight, but we're going to keep charging you because you have to pick your seat, et cetera, et cetera. And it's absolutely freaking asinine, and it's annoying. So I'm not really a fan of either. Again, I thought there were some positives to it, but I definitely saw this coming, and too many people doing it drives the prices down. Okay, fine. If it puts the hotels out of business, again, great. Repurpose these high-rise buildings in downtown areas for apartment buildings. Hopefully a cheap, live-inable apartment situation, or whatever the case. So yeah, that's my take on Airbnb and Uber and this gig work. Oh, there I go again, doing my closing. And then, of course, I think of the other thing. I was talking to a friend of mine, and lots of friends of mine, but I'm like, where did our workforce go? Why all of a sudden is everywhere so understaffed? And this friend of mine was like, well, everybody found a way to work from home. Like, well, what do you mean everybody? No, everybody does not work from home. There's a lot of people with YouTube channels, guilty. And the fitness influencers, like, every girl with a gym membership and has a good butt and spandex seems to be a physical trainer now. I don't understand those videos. Just, oh, hey, look at my tits, ass, and vagina internet. Look at them. Oh, yeah, look, let me do my leg spreads, and look at my ass while I do this bullshit workout that I made up. Jesus Christ. So it's absolutely absurd. So I was talking to a pizza delivery driver and at a Pizza Hut, and I see they got like 8 positions available. And you never see that sitting on the counter anywhere. I've never seen those posted in the window anywhere. SBS at Safeway, they're just everywhere. And I asked the delivery driver about it, like, well, what's going on here? What's your take? And she's like, well, I'm doing okay, but we need 3 chefs. We need, actual, in-house waiters, and so on and so forth. And, it's 24 hours a day, so they need lots of people. And we have all these people showing up for Caberdash, Uber Eats, and whatever the other ones are. And she's like, yeah, but we need chefs. I think people are working from home doing this gig work, and I don't think they're getting the hours. I know they're not getting the hours because, again, there's too many people doing it. And I don't know, is government subsidizing their income? Are they, oh, I'm not making enough, not working, so I need to be subsidized? I'm not sure what's going on there, but that made a lot of sense if there's a lot of people doing gig work, not making shit at it, because, again, we can't all be, major league YouTube personalities. And again, my videos are very stupid and basic. Hopefully they'll get better. You look at JP Sears, got great, hilarious videos. Matt Best, 11X. He has great military spoof humor. Again, not something a lot of you are going to really latch on to. You kind of got to be in to get most of it, I feel like. But again, back to supply and demand. We don't all have time to sit around all day and watch YouTube videos. I know I sure as hell don't. I'm trying to cut back on my phone time because I was just addicted to that thing. And of course, doing my YouTube channel doesn't help because I'm always trying to load videos and so forth. So, okay, I think that got it all out. So I'm just not really a fan of all this gig work. Supply and demand has driven these things out of business. I've heard of people going back to work for cab companies because there's no money in Uber. I mean, Uber laughed all the way to the bank with this, and Lyft and all these guys. So, and same with Airbnb. The app company is making the money. You sure as hell aren't. So that's it for Eric's Corner. Hope you enjoyed my video. Got hopefully do some more uploads. It's only Friday, so hopefully I can get at least another 5 or 6 videos launched this weekend. I'm trying not to do too many too quick, but I kind of don't really have a choice because I literally have 30 video ideas. I'm way behind because I've been, I wrote this stuff down for years almost before I actually got a chance to, or got my set done and could actually comfortably talk in front of a camera, and I'm still not doing very good. So thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you again. If you enjoyed my video, smash that subscribe button and let me know what you want to talk about or what you want my 2 cents on. Hope you stay tuned. Have a good night.